We were so in phase in a dance hall days.
Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and we're going to finish off 1984 with game number 1 in our 20 from 1984 series. This game was created by created by Irem and licensed to Data East, and it is based on two films, Game of Death with Bruce Lee and Wheels on Meals with Jackie Chan. We'll get to that in a moment, but first, let's look at my honorable mentions list, the games that just missed my 20 from 1984 cut. Start with Nova 2001, created by UPL and Universal. Very cool space shooter game. You have a controller that allows you to lock in a position with a certain button. You hold down the button and you can move the controller around and shoot, and you're stuck in that position, which is awesome. And you shoot down enemies that leave little number icons. You can pick them up for extra points. And there will sometimes be a boss that will appear. Very fun game, very easy. And you can get bonus points for if you beat the level quickly. And there's that boss creature you need to shoot a lot of times to destroy. And now we're going to look at Boulder Dash, and this was a computer game, and this is the Exidy Maxiflex cabinet version. Fun game. It's a strategy puzzle game. You collect all the diamonds in a maze while trying not to let boulders fall on you and kill you. And you need to collect all the diamonds and get to the end. And now we're going to look at Bullfight, created by Corland and Sega. And this is a game of bullfighting. I can't think of any other arcade game with bullfighting. And you wave your cape around to get the bull. To get the bull to charge at you, and you get to the side of him and stab him with your sword. It's kind of gory. And when you kill him, he falls over and spits up blood. Gross. And then there's also a bonus stage where you just try to survive without using your sword. Just try to survive a number of bulls. And the longer you survive, the more matadors get loose. And now we're going to look at Chicken Shift, created by Balicente, and it's a weird game, but it's cute and fun. Here on this first stage, you move pipes to try to catch falling eggs. Try not to let them squish. Try to get enough to safely roll in the basket. And on this stage, you got half-hatched chicks that you gotta move to safety with moving platforms, where they can reach the end and then break free of their shell and fly away. And then on the third stage, you got little platforms. You can flip the chicks up to higher areas and hopefully in the nests. But you can't have more than one in a nest. Very, very fun little game. And now we'll look at Cobra Command by, I think, Data East. It's a Laserdisc title. Very cool animation. Eventually you'll fly through the skies and shoot enemy choppers. Very good animation, very cool action. I don't recall seeing this before, but this had a Sega CD port, I think. Kind of cool game. Laserdisc games were still very very interesting to arcade gamers. And now we'll look at Demolition Derby by Bally Midway. And this was kind of fun. This part, the music here, was perhaps the best part of the game. But you try to bash all the other car combatants with, you try to protect your, I think it's your radiator. So I think you need to drive like backwards and bash the fronts of the other cars. And eventually you might be able to get something that can repair your damage meter, or might give you more points or something. And when a car is destroyed, it turns into an oil slick, and it's slippery. If you run over there, you lose control for a short couple seconds. Now we're going to look at Flicky by Sega, maybe Corland Sega, and this is a cute little platform game. You're a duck, and you try to collect baby ducks, and watch out for cats. And you take the baby ducks to an exit, and the more you have, the more points you're going to get. And the cats can also steal the baby ducks from you as you move them around. They can also kill you, of course. You can actually throw a baby duck at a cat and paralyze it. And now we're going to look at Hat Trick by Balicente. This is okay. It's a one-on-one game of hockey. It's kind of hard to control the puck. You have to hit it with the end of your stick, or catch it with the end of your stick. But you can also control the goalies by pushing up or down, or your own goalie. And look, that I do like that you create skating marks on the ice. And at the end of your game, a Zamboni will clear it off. That is kind of cool. I do like that. A fairly popular game in the arcades. Well, now we're going to look at Lode Runner, and this was a famous computer game. This version was created by Irem. It's very, very faithful to the arcade in terms of gameplay. You try to dig holes to make your pursuers fall in, and you try to collect all the gold. And when you do, there will be an extra ladder appearing, and you climb that to end the stage. But I like this one a lot. This is very cool. And now we're going to look at Pandora's Palace by Konami and Interlogic. And this is a cool little Donkey Kong type of game. You're a Roman, and you can collect grapes and get special powers where you can jump on and smush the enemies. Like there. And you just try to reach the bottom right. And when you do, you go to the next stage. And there's various different hazards that pop up on each stage. There's also a bonus stage. This is a very cool game. I remember seeing this at a 7-Eleven. And now we're going to look at Sun, and I think this was Capcom's first game. And it's a cool little platformer game with characters from, I think, a Chinese fable or story. Very cool. And you just hop around on the different platforms, and you can kill groups of enemies for a nice bonus. And various Capcom items will appear, like the POW symbol from like 1942, and that'll turn enemies into food items that are worth a lot more points. And occasionally you'll have kind of boss enemies like these walls with the bombers coming out behind, and there's the Capcom dragonflies. Now we're going to look at Super Bagman, and this is a great sequel to Bagman. It's still very hard, but note that you can get bombs, and there's an escalator on this stage, or an escalator, and there's also a slide. You'll have an action button so that you need to jump over that gap before you fall down. And there's your friend in the jail cell. You can free him later when you collect all the gold. And you can also collect a gun to shoot the enemies. And there's the elevator screen. And on this screen, you can go on the platform and you can take your wheelbarrow down levels. You could not do that in the first game. Very, very helpful. But that is Super Bagman. It's still a very tough game, but still very fun and great music. And now we're going to look at the Tower of Druaga by Namco. And this might have been Japan only. It was still very popular. You're a knight, and you have a sword, and you want to have it sticking out to kill the enemies, at least for the most part. And you go around in a maze, and sometimes you might be able to unlock a hidden treasure, and it can help you if you collect it. But your main goal is to get the key and go to the exit to end the level. And now we're going to look at Trivial Pursuit by Balicente, and this is a cool version of the popular board game. You'll roll dice. You can choose to be like a historical character like Cleopatra here, and you answer questions when you land on a space. And your main goal is to get to the four corners and answer a question correctly. Then you'll get the 4 pieces and you'll beat the game. Yellow, blue, red, and green. Very, very cool game. And here's Cleopatra trying to answer a question to get one of the pieces of the pie piece. Very cool game. I was pretty impressed by this. Now we're going to look at versus golf, or versus stroke and match golf. This is part of the versus library for the Nintendo Arcade versus cabinet. And we're just going to look at the attract mode, how to play, because the music is kind of annoying in this game. But this is how you hit the ball. And it was really kind of started the way that most games would have their swing meter. And here he's on the green, and you see the lie pointing downwards, so you have to kind of compensate a little bit with the crosshairs. That's Versus Golf by Nintendo. And we're going to look at another versus game. This is Ice Climber. And this was kind of cool. It's got cool action, but God, your jump mechanics suck. You move so slowly when you jump left or right. But there's various enemies that try to attack you. You can break the blocks, the ice blocks of each level, to jump up through the gap to the next floor, and eventually you'll get to a bonus stage where you can collect food items, and you want to try to make it to the top and catch this bird, so that you'll get a bonus for all the items you caught and all the enemies that you killed during that stage. And the bricks, the ice blocks that you broke. And now we're going to look at Super Punch-Out by Nintendo, and this was the sequel to Punch-Out, released later in 1984. There's new enemies, like Bear Hugger, and a number of them will do a certain attack that you have a new duck button for, that you press to avoid that, or you'll go down. And there's Dragon Chan, and he does a cheaty kick at you. There's also Vodka Drunkinski, which was later known as Soda Popinski, and Great Tiger, and Super Macho Man, later appearing in Punch-Out games. And now we're going to look at Bank Panic by Sega, Sonritsu and Sega. This is a cool game set in the Old West in a bank, and you're protecting 3 doors at a time. There will be outlaws that you need to shoot, and there will be people that are just trying to make a deposit. You want to let them do that, and once they've made a deposit in all the doors, then you beat the level. Very cool game, good music. And our number 1 game is Kung Fu Master. And like I said, this was based on 2 movies, Game of Death and Wheels on Meals. And more so Game of Death. It's a scrolling beat-em-up, and it really set the standard for scrolling beat-em-ups. The first place I saw this, I believe, was in Aladdin's Castle arcade, and I was hooked right away. This game is awesome. It's very, very tough if you don't get used to the controls and the methods for dispatching the bosses of each floor. This is mostly based on Game of Death. The Wheels on Meals movie, this just took the main character Thomas, played by Jackie Chan, and a girl in the movie. Sylvia is Thomas's girlfriend in this game. I don't know that she was in the movie. I haven't seen it. But Game of Death featured floors of a pagoda that Bruce Lee had to fight tough guys in. So this is mostly taken after that movie. And you scroll for the first, third, and fifth screens from right from right to left. And on screen 2 and 4, you scroll from left to right. And you have a kick button, and you want to stick with that for the most part, really, because you have excellent reach with the kick. And there's also a punch button for fighting at closer range. You get more points for punching than kicking, but stick with the kick, it's safest. You also have a jump kick. You can press up on the joystick to jump, and the kick button, and you'll do a jump kick. And you can move left or right as you do a jump kick. And you can take out multiple enemies that way. And you get an increasing bonus for doing so, which is really nice. Oh, crap, I let them grab me. The main enemy are those blue and purple guys. And I call them grippers because they grip onto you. And that boss that I just beat was the stick boss, and he is super easy. But the grippers try to grab you, and if you let them, they will drain off your energy from your life bar. And to shake them off, just wiggle the joystick back and forth, and you'll shake them off. Now this second stage has little balls of confetti, balls that turn into dragons, and pots that turn into snakes. You can jump over the snakes, you can kick the balls of confetti. If you let the confetti balls explode, they will hit you and hurt you, so don't let that happen. Don't come into contact with any of those things, and now we're seeing little people. It's the PC term, I guess. But you'll need to duck and attack those. If you get too close to the boomerang guy here, he can't hit you with his boomerang, but you can't hit him. The game is fairly easy these first couple stages, I think. After that, you only get one extra life. You get one at 50,000, and there's your girlfriend tied up. She's on the 5th floor. And you'll hear a boss laugh at you on the 3rd and 5th floors from afar before you start the stage. But notice you'll need to duck to attack the little people, and sometimes they will jump up in the air and tag you on the head, and you will need to jump to prevent them from doing that. And we also have these knife-throwing bastards. They can throw their knives high or low. You'll need to jump over or duck under them, and you can be assaulted by two at once. Now, once you turn around and face a knife guy and he throws his knife, after that you can charge towards him and he'll stay there, otherwise he'll move away from you, which makes him even more annoying. And this is the third boss, and he is a giant, and he's kind of based on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from Game of Death, I would wager. But the best way to attack him is do a flying jump kick and then duck and then just start punching the hell out of him. And now to start the 4th stage, we have these butterflies or giant moths or something, and you just have to watch how they come out of their little holes in terms of whether you need to jump kick, duck and attack, do a straight attack, whatever. And the boss of this stage can be a real pain in the ass. He's a magician, he's a wizard, and he can cast spells at you. And notice that you can knock his head off and he'll reappear. He can also split himself up into two guys. He can't back up anymore once he's up to the steps. And now he'll split into 2 guys. And one of them can attack you, the other one cannot. Or one of them you can attack, the other one you cannot. And I attacked the right one. And now this is the last stage. Then all the stages will repeat, and they'll be harder. The enemies will be more persistent, or there'll be a lot more of them. You don't need to do the jump attack that often. It looks fancy, but it really doesn't do you that much good unless you've got like one group of enemies, one group of the grippers coming at you, and you can take out a whole bunch for extra points. It increases by 200 for each consecutive enemy that you take out with one jump kick. And you can actually put your foot through a couple enemies at once sometimes. And this is the boss. His name is Mr. X. you can sometimes sneak in a quick jump attack, a jump kick, and that'll take off half his energy. And he can pepper you with quick little attacks. The best attack other than a jump kick that might hurt him, oh crap, oh sweet, is maybe a sweep kick, a quick sweep kick. And that's really stupid that Sylvia was able to break out of her bonds on her own. She should have been able to leave the temple, or maybe she just gets super strong when she sees you. In that case, she should just pick you up herself and take you out of the temple. And again, you just start all the stages over with increased difficulty. But yeah, stick with the kick. This game was super popular, and it really revolutionized the beat-em-up genre, or kind of started it, actually. Oh, crap. I hate the knife throwers. They've always been annoying. But again, if you face them as they're throwing a knife and then move towards you, then they won't back away. And sometimes the front of you will be cleared out. This guy is so easy. Yeah, just do a jump kick to take off a lot of his energy, and then either duck punch or duck kick him. Once you touch the stairs, you are safe. You have ended the level. Yeah, the second time around, these falling objects have a different pattern, the way they fall, and a good strategy here is to get two of the jars landing close to each other, where the little snakes will come out facing opposite ways, and you can jump in between them with just one jump. And note that the dragons are worth a lot of points. If you can kick a few, that's awesome. That sucks that you only get one extra life, and that's at 50,000 points. This, of course, had an NES release. Oh, crap. The NES release was just called Kung Fu. And it's pretty similar. I like the sound effects and the maybe the music a little bit better in Kung Fu Master. This game was also known as Spartan X, and it was released to coincide with the Wheels on Meals movie, which was also called Spartan X, in Japan only, I think. But the movies are very much unrelated, really, other than the character of Thomas being the protagonist in both the movie and the game. Oh, crap. Yeah, you gotta wiggle the joystick to get the grippers off of you. And even if you do so, they're still gonna take a little tiny bit of energy off you. Crap. The knife throwers get pretty fast at their knife throwing. But yeah, sometimes with them being behind you, you might be able to keep enemies from appearing in front of you as much. If you got a knife thrower on your tail and you keep trying to move forward. But yeah, try and face him as he throws a knife, and then he won't back off. There's that giant, based on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Ouch. Yeah, he sends you flying backwards with a quick kick. But yeah, this game was super popular. I started seeing this at all sorts of places. I think shortly after I first saw this at an Aladdin's Castle arcade, I saw it at my dad's bowling alley. He didn't own it. He played their league nights. I would end up playing a league at Tigard Bowl, and I think I bowled once at Kellogg Bowl. I mean, with the league. Yeah, those little people will try to jump and land on your head. Sweet. Yeah, that's the best way to take out that giant. Even though if he does get a kick on you, he's gonna really put the hurt on you. Try not to get hit by most bosses' attacks, because they can be very, very damaging. Do a jump kick and then duck and do a low punch on that giant, and hope that you have enough energy to withstand an attack if he does a kick. And note that these butterflies or moths will not go past that fourth pole. If you can read Chinese numbers, you can see where you're at on the poles. When you get to the sixth one, then you'll know that you're right about at the boss. And the sixth one is actually behind him now. I hate this wizard because his attacks get damaging. Ah, crap. It was the one behind me that was the real one that I needed to attack, and I didn't turn around in time. But, yeah, I remember this in the arcades. Such a good game. So challenging. It takes quite a while to even pass the fourth boss. One other thing I wanted to point out is that the bosses do not generally pass a certain point if you retreat. Oh, crap. If you back up quite a ways, there's like a pole that they won't pass to come get you. And notice that you are timed. If you run out of time, you die. So don't let that happen. Don't hang around too long, beating up enemies for points, because you are timed. Keep moving. Well, that is Kung Fu Master by Irem and licensed to Data East in the US, and it is also known as Spartan X. And again, this was based on the movie Wheels and Meals and the movie Game of Death, and they respectively starred the legends Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. Yeah, America was just starting a big time warm up to the martial arts craze. They got a taste of it certainly in the 70s with Bruce Lee and a number of grindhouse martial arts type of movies. Yeah, don't get hit by that flying confetti from that ball. It's deadly. It packs a punch. Well, that was Kung Fu Master, game number 1 in our 20 from 1984 series. Well, that's it for my 1984 series. I hope you join me sometime soon with my 20 from 1985 series, but I'll take some requests for the time being. Bye-bye, folks.